As much as online dating is a ton of work without much reward, it does teach you a lot about human nature. The way men present themselves when you meet them for the first time is incredibly revealing. If you pay attention, you'll start to notice some patterns. There seems to be a common script that many guys follow. It goes like this. Number one, they drop comments about their wealth or status. So think of the guy who wants you to know that he's got a Maserati in his garage back home, or the guy who's got an inside connection that can get you backstage at the next concert. Number two, they drop comments about the kind of life you could expect if you were their girlfriend. So think of the guy who explains in great detail how well he treats his girlfriend, or the guy who's got this holiday home at the beach that he could take you to. And finally, number three, sometimes they drop provocative comments to see how you'll react. So think of the guy who mentions that he's always listening to Howard Stern, or the guy who says that he doesn't understand what the fuss about waiting for sex is when you've got to test your sexual compatibility sooner or later anyway. Now, these scripts are so prevalent that it is a breath of fresh air to meet a guy who shows up with no expectations and nothing to prove, just an open mind and the desire to have a nice time with you. And yes, those amazing guys are out there. You've just got to make sure that you turn down the duds and you hold out for someone who can create lasting, lifelong love with you. And in this video, I will be sharing with you 3 red flags that suggest that you need to pass on a guy no matter how many holiday homes or sports cars he owns. Hi, I'm Amy Waterman. I'm a love expert here at yourbrilliance.com, the channel for women who want to live their most brilliant life. Now, unlike other dating coaches, I think there's so much more to life than getting a guy. I think we need to hold out for a beautiful and brilliant love. And creating that kind of love takes a very special kind of person. Keep watching. Red flag number 1 is rigidity. So the first thing I want you to look at is where he falls on the spectrum from rigid to flexible. So does everything have to go his own way? Does he always have to be in charge? Does he always have to be the man? And if something unexpected happens, does he get angry or miffed or irritable? Now, alpha males or wannabe alpha males often fail this test because they present themselves as these strong men, but their strength is actually brittle. It won't bend. It won't flex. It's their way or the highway. Now, true strength is flexible. It sways in those strong winds because by bending, it avoids breaking. Now, as I mentioned in my last video, you want a partner who will be swayed by you, not a man so committed to his own way that he won't stoop to meet you halfway. Now, a rigid partner won't change even if his behavior is hurting you. He won't know how to share power in the relationship. He'll expect you to stay in your place, and it's just not worth it. Red flag number 2 is performance. So the second thing you want to look at is whether he's focused on performing for you or being with you. So if a guy's conversation follows that script I mentioned earlier, then that is a dead giveaway that he is focused on performance. He wants to impress his date, but he hasn't bothered taking the time to find out what his date actually finds impressive or what she really wants. Now, sadly, this has become really common these days thanks to bad internet dating advice. Many guys believe that women are only interested in wealth, status, and looks. And so they lead with their cars and their jobs and their gym routines. They don't actually get that many of us are far more interested in finding out whether a man is kind and smart and loving first. Now, the reason this is a problem is because men who believe that all women just want a rich, high-status guy with six-pack abs are the types of men who tend to look at things in stereotypes. So you're not this beautiful, unique individual that he needs to get to know. You are a woman, and he already understands women. Unfortunately for him, he doesn't understand women at all. He just thinks he does. And you can imagine how fun a relationship with that kind of guy would be. Pass. Red flag number 3, judgmental. So the last thing you want to look for is how he talks about his opinions. Is he judgmental or is he open-minded? Now, we've all been out on that date with a guy who has very strong opinions and expects you to either agree with him or debate him. He's not interested in finding out your opinion so they can listen thoughtfully to you and ask follow-up questions. He knows his position and he is confident that he's right. Now, the other way judgment slips in is when he talks about other people. So maybe you've shared how hard it is to date, and he agrees with you. He tells you that he does not get most guys, that most guys are terrible to women, and they're not at all like him. He was raised right. So you have just learned that not only is this guy willing to bash his own gender, but he also thinks he's better than everyone else. Now, anytime someone is judgmental about other people, it suggests two things. Number one, they see life as a competition that they've got to win. And number two, they feel insecure. So their judgmentalness actually makes them lonely. They're too busy being right, being better, being the one with all the answers to connect with the person in front of them. Secure people don't need to compete with others because they know their worth is intrinsic. Where they land on the social hierarchy is irrelevant. They certainly don't need to put others down to raise themselves up. Sometimes I actually think that the opposite of being judgmental is not open-mindedness, but rather empathy. So judgmental people place a divide between themselves and others, and empathetic people build a bridge. So look for that guy who can listen to you explain something that he's clearly never experienced before, something he doesn't understand, and stay with you and not switch off. Because nothing you say is a threat to him. He's not here to prove himself. He's here to get to know you. And the very best way to get to know another person is to shut up and listen. So in many ways, what I'm encouraging you to do is to look for signs that a guy is emotionally intelligent and secure. So it doesn't matter how hot he is, how exciting he is, how much he wants to be with you. If he does not have the skills to create healthy, lasting love, he's no more than a detour. Now, if you're wondering what you can do to send him the right signals, then make sure to grab your free report on the 3 A's of effortless attraction. It's how emotionally intelligent women win the hearts of the men they love. I will put a link to get it below. See you next time.